Hi and welcome to my review of the Sony SEL35f18. This E-mount lens is for APS-C cameras only. It has a filter thread of 49mm and an aperture from 1.8 to 22. The price is around $415 or €400. With a diameter of 63mm, it is just as big as other common E-mount APS-C lenses. The length of only 45mm makes it very small and compact. It's also a very lightweight lens with 154 grams. The minimal focus distance is relatively weak compared to the kit lens. You will not get close enough for impressive macro shots. It has 7 aperture blades, just like any other APS-C E-mount lens from Sony. Distortion and vignetting are no big issue on that lens when you leave the in-camera lens correction turned on. Transversal chromatic aberrations are visible at high contrast objects at f1.8. But that's normal for lenses in that price range. Longitudinal chromatic aberrations seem to be quite severe on that lens. You need to stop down to f5.6 to get rid of most but not all of them. Color accuracy is measured with a color checker in DaVinci Resolve. But keep in mind that videography is about being creative. Maybe you want a lens that produces warm colors instead of accurate colors. In terms of color accuracy, the 35mm seems to fall behind other lenses. Sometimes I had the impression that colors tend to look a bit warmer on that lens. But since I always use my color checker to set a custom white balance, I never had any serious problems. To measure the general sharpness, I compared these test shots with all lenses I own. The radius of my test shot is 6760 pixels. 10 is the highest rating given subjectively by myself. The rating is multiplied with the respective radius. The sharpness at f1.8 is soft in the center, but keeps getting worse in the corners. For good results, you have to stop down to f2.8. Awkwardly, the good sharpness area extends when stopping down to f5.6, but the extreme corners become softer. Compared to other fast prime lenses, the 35mm is nothing but normal. The best performance is given at f2.8. It's nearly as good as the Zeiss labeled SEL24f18Z. Although extreme corners lose some sharpness at f5.6, the overall performance is satisfying. The average sharpness from f1.8 to 5.6 is 49% on that lens, which is a good result. Close-up sharpness is not really measured and calculated. I assess the test shots of a lens subjectively in relation to all my lenses I own. Like already said, the 35mm is a bit soft at f1.8. Sharpness increases noticeably at f2.8 and also at f5.6. The performance at f1.8 is one of the reasons why this lens is not labeled by Zeiss. Close-up sharpness at f2.8 and f5.6 is just average. The SEL35f18 gets a total score of 44%. I consider this as an average performance. Not bad, but somehow it is one of my favorite and most used lenses for video work. But look for yourself. So here are my final thoughts on the 35mm. I really like this lens because of its wide aperture and its compactness. The optical image stabilizer works really great on that lens. Disappointingly, the sharpness suffers at f1.8, but I still like filming wide open anyways. I use this lens mainly to separate my object from the background. I like having a dreamy, softy look. I don't need brilliant sharpness for that kind of shots. If you are a fan of manual focusing, don't buy that lens. It's a real pain. You have to turn the focus ring so many times to get from close focus to infinity. For further information on how I tested my lenses, just watch my test explanation video. Bye bye.